gradually you guys are gonna do really well. I can tell.
I appreciate it. I'm hoping so.
When I was your age, I wasn't this smart.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. Yeah, I've heard a bit about your story ahead of time, and then you were doing some stuff. All right, guys, I'm Pablo here. We have one of our good friends of the car show. Actually, been supporting it since the first one.
Yeah, exactly. My name is Ali Kasraee, and I've been hanging out with these guys for some time now, and I have a few cars that are more of a vintage deal, not your speedy kind of up-to-date, newer, fast cars.
Tell them a bit about what we're in today.
So we are in 1964 Porsche 356C, which were the last ones ever made by and designed by Perry Porsche. So in 64 and 65 they made the last ones that had actually 4-disc brakes, and this is 60 years ago, which was really advanced for their years. So they're pretty unique. I mean, to this day, 60 years later, they're they're. Thank you, appreciate it. The great thing about this one was we were on vacation in Monterey, and I ended up being at a restaurant having a drink. And the kids and the moms and everybody was at the beach. I sat next to an older gentleman that was having a drink with his wife, and we started hitting it off. And long story short, he was a car collector, and he was trying to narrow down on his collection, and he invited me the next day to go to his house and see the whole thing. So I ended up going the next day and seeing a bunch of cars that he had. But the great thing to my advantage was that he was just ready to get rid of those cars. I tried to do a little negotiating, and it ended up working out, and he accepted it, and I got it in end of 2014, and I've had it since, and I haven't done much to it other than some brake work and all that good stuff.
It's amazing, especially like me and Tyler have talked about it with you before, but like a lot of the ones we see and we're still in love with them are like the replicas. So to be in like an actual original one it's special, and
it's really hard to tell replicas from originals nowadays, because they're copied them so just great. Yeah. And you guys didn't know that. You had seen the car a few times, and so I got kind of lucky with this one. And like I said, I'm more of an Italian car guy. I have some Alphas that are from the 60s and 70s, and just more of a vintage guy.
But it's hard to resist the 356, especially when you find it like that.
Exactly.
In the past, I know you've owned like quite a few cars, and especially like more of like the vintage style. What's the favorite car you've owned?
I had an Alfa Romeo Giulietta, which is early or late 50s. And I basically, it was 2007, I bought that car.
Okay.
And that was basically my entry to getting into vintage cars, which I love. And I got a great deal on it. The prices hadn't climbed yet, and so I had, everything in my savings. I said, you know what, I'm going to buy this car.
Yeah.
And kept it for 2 years. And then the rest is history. That disease kind of settled in, and to this day I really regret selling it, because the price, money you'll never be able to take with you to the other world, but just the drive in that car, and just the sound of it. Ironically, it was the same color combination as this. It was red interior, kind of off-white exterior, and I end up missing it. And I wish I had it to this day.
Touching on like owning these cars, and obviously a lot of us aspire to I mean, just rolling in a 356 is a special moment. But to get to the point to do it, obviously there's a lot of hard work involved. Can you tell us a bit about your story and how you did it?
You know, I'm originally from Iran, and I lost my dad when I was 9 years old, and didn't have any brothers or sisters or any siblings to kind of bring me up or teach me things. So everything kind of was just, I was on my own learning everything. But when I was 12 years old, I came to this country, and I'm 52 now, so you can do the math. So I
20 years ago.
20 years ago, yeah. But at the age of 13, I always wanted to do. I wanted to work. I did school. I stuck to my school. That was my priority, but I still wanted to work. And so, growing up, I've always gone to school and worked, even though if it was, I wasn't old enough yet to get an actual job. I still did, warehouse work for some of the family members, or, cutting grass, washing cars, and I grew up in the East Coast in Maryland. And so lots of grass out there. And so I made some money doing those things. But moving out here in 97, it was, it wasn't what it is today. Obviously, we all know that. But, I had to get a job and get working. And what I did, I had saved up money and bought a land in Tonopah.
Okay.
In 97. And I bought 40 acres. And I was a young guy, and that's all the money I had. So I ended up buying the land, and it was in the middle of nowhere, and I got it basically for nothing. And then it just kept growing. So I got lucky there, and I was able to sell 3/4 of it when prices were, in 2003s and 4s, when, everything was just crazy. So I ended up selling 3/4 of it, putting that money into a house that was more of a, a dump. And so I started fixing houses on my own and started meeting people. And I also became a flooring contractor, which I am still today. I have a flooring business that we do shower remodeling, kitchen remodels, and so on and so forth. And so just learning the trade by that, and meeting the people that that did the same things. And so I started picking up a house or two and started fixing them and renting them. And so it just kind of built up from there.
That's incredible. I mean, I've heard like what you do for like work with the contracting side and everything, but I didn't know real estate actually did play a big role in it like that.
It really did. And knowing the right people, like you guys, you and Tyler, and honest, and they go to bat for you, and knowing you guys, I think those are the people you want to meet if you want to start and getting into real estate. You want people that are actually there for you.
Well, and I think a common theme between like most of the guys that come to the show and hang out with all of us is like, it really does take hard work, and like you have to be able to take risks. Like Tonopah now is still in the middle of nowhere. When you bought that land, it was, even 20 miles further from the middle of nowhere. And not many people would, I think, be willing to do that with all the money they've saved up, and just kind of like on a whim of, I think this will work out.
Right. And that was the thing. And my idea of it, everyone was like, that's just in the middle of nowhere. Everyone, literally, they would laugh at me, which was, it was kind of crazy for me to do something. I'm in my 20s, and here I had saved all this time, everything that I had, and then putting that money into something that may not end up, So that was, you always need a little bit of luck on your side to be able to, get that one kickoff, and it ended up being that one, and it was a risk that it wasn't, I really didn't think of it. I just went and did it. But I happened to get lucky on that one, and then Arizona grew, and then it ended up being something kind of that worked out for me.
Well, and just the risk is one thing, but the hard work too of, we're in 2024. You're talking about buying your first car that started the kick 17 years ago.
Right.
And you're still working all the time. I know you're in and out of the state going to projects and putting, like, you know, actual blood, sweat, and tears into the job now when you could just relax. But
Right.
I think
And that's the thing with successful people. You always see that they will never just quit and relax.
yeah,
It's always something that they have to do. And you know, as a 50-some-year-old, you know, telling a young guy like you, I would really suggest that never, even if you have millions in the account, don't just give up. You know, continue working, continue going to the gym and eating healthy, and you know, grow as much as you can.
so it's like a thing of building those habits that you know are going to be good in the long run, and then it's not a temporary thing.
Right. For the most part, we're all hard workers. We work and we're out and about. And as soon as you slow down and you stop and you retire because you have so much in your account, you just drop. Your health drops. Your mental health drops. And so it's definitely something you want to kind of just continue and keep going, you know, and put pressure on yourself. Don't be afraid of it, because it helps you. It makes you healthier. It makes you want to do more.
That reminds me of so it's a really popular book, but I'm sure you've heard of it, Atomic Habits. So they talk about, or the author talks about, in order to be like actually like successful at changing your lifestyle, it's not a matter of like, hey, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. and start doing a cold plunge and all these things. It's, hey, no, do little implementations, but become the person that does those things. Like, that's what you aspire to be. Like, I want to be a morning person, not I want to wake up at 7. It's a consistent thing of like, now you believe that this is who you are, and then that's how you keep it going for a long period of time. It wasn't just a 1 month sprint where you're like, I'm gonna work out every day.
Exactly. Consistency.
I want to be the healthy person.
Yeah. Consistency and discipline. Those things are. That's what I would recommend to all the younger guys. Is just continue. Even if you get up one morning and you still don't feel like, you know, going to the gym or going to wherever, but get up and do it. Push yourself, and that's where strength comes from.
Okay. And not just me and Tyler, but anyone younger is trying to be an entrepreneur, is obviously into cars, and wants to get to the level where they can get stuff like this. What's like the one key pointer you want to say?
To elaborate on that, I think, you know, being able to push yourself, and don't be afraid of jumping into something. And if you fail, you learn from it, you move on. That is one key thing to being successful, is if you don't do it, you don't know where it's going to go. And so push yourself, take the risk, calculated risk, and then if you fail, it's still a win, because you've learned from it, and then you move on. And if you do succeed, then keep building on that. Don't just say, I'm successful now, I'm done. So those are the things that you really want. And like I said, you guys, I see that in you and Tyler, and that's phenomenal for this age group.
I appreciate it. Well, I think that's a really good note to end off. Ali, thank you for being a part of this. Obviously, we're going to keep going, and we appreciate you coming to the car show and being a part of this journey so far.
Awesome. Love coming to car shows, and you guys have improved so much on it.
It was a little small when you came.
Yeah. You know, it starts with 4 or 5 cars, and then all of a sudden it blows up, and you guys are doing a great job. And, you know, you're great realtors and great friends as well. So
we appreciate
I hope it keeps going for you.
Thank you. And thank you for letting me ride in this beauty.